Yeah, another review series. I am putting off Friday the 13th like crazy for some reason. Scream was released in 1996, directed by Wes Craven, and it starred Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Jamie Kennedy, Skeet Ulrich, and Matthew Lillard. And we've officially reached the release week for Scream 6. So I figured, why not review all 5 of the previous Scream films? I know I reviewed Scream 5 last year when it came out, but I really want to re-review that in this new space, and also with some updated thoughts on it, and spoilers on that movie. So, yeah, let's go ahead and start off this review series with the original movie that started all, Scream, starting off with the good. And this is easily a horror classic. I mean, everything's great about this movie. Starting off with the characters and the acting, it's all phenomenal. First of all, you have the main character, Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell. And in my opinion, and as much of a Halloween fan as I am, I will say that Sidney Prescott is probably the greatest final girl in horror history, in my opinion. Just the way Neve Campbell plays her, it's absolutely terrific. She's just as great as Laurie Strode, and in my opinion, a little bit better than Laurie Strode. And that's coming from someone whose favorite actress is Jamie Lee Curtis. So yeah, I really like her. Then you have the 2 other characters from the main trio of this franchise. First, you have Gale Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, and she's really good. She doesn't get a whole lot to do in this movie, but she still fills out the cast very nicely. She's this news reporter trying to get her big break, and the way that she plays the character is really great, and I really like her character development throughout the movie. And then finally, you have David Arquette as Dewey. And this is easily my favorite character of the franchise because he goes from this bumbling idiot sheriff's deputy to kind of a badass in the later films. And I just really like his lovable nature in this film and throughout this franchise as well. And I also really like his chemistry with Courtney Cox. If you're not familiar with this franchise, they do become an item later on down the road, and also it plays into David Arquette and Courtney Cox's real life relationship because they were married for a short stint of time. Shortly after Scream 4 came out, they did get a divorce. It was very public, but that's aside from the point. I just really like their chemistry together. And then you have a character who deserved so much better, which we will get to that in the next review, but you have Randy, played by Jamie Kennedy. Really great character. He's a big movie nerd like I am, so I relate to his character the most because, like I said, he's a huge movie nerd. I'm a huge movie nerd, and I just love the way he formulates this whole rule system on how to survive a horror movie, and that entire scene, absolutely iconic. And then we get down to the character of Ghostface in this movie. First of all, before I talk about the actual killers, I really want to give a shout out to Roger Jackson's voice performance as the voice for the killer. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely terrific. I'm really glad that they kept him for this new line of films, starting with 5, going into 6 this year and 7 next year. I just really love the way he does the voice. It's very creepy, it's very sinister, and it just works for me. And then you have the killers in this movie, the people behind the mask. You have Billy Loomis and Stu Macher, played by Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, and they are absolutely terrific. Starting off with Billy, he's the ringleader of this group of killers, of these 2 killers in this movie, and he's absolutely terrific. He's the more calculated one. He gives off those creepy vibes early in the movie, but you really want to think nothing of it because you think, oh, maybe he's just a red herring and he's actually a good guy in the end. But then it all comes back around to the end where he's revealed to be the killer. and it's really a great scene. I just love how cold and calculating Skeet Ulrich is in the role. And then you have the unhinged loose cannon of the two killers, Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher. And this is easily my favorite killer in this entire franchise, simply because of Matthew Lillard's absolute crackhead energy that he brings to the role, especially at the end when he's able to go full ham and just go crazy with everything he's given. He's just yelling everything, and his whole "my mom and dad are gonna be so bad at me" line, which was actually unscripted. I just found that out. Actually, I believe it was, at least. But I just really love Matthew Lillard as Stu. He's easily the most popular of the killers, and you can tell with how many people are petitioning for him to be brought back in Scream 6. So maybe he's in Scream 6. I don't know. I'm going to find out on Saturday. No spoilers. But yeah, I just really love Matthew Lillard in this movie. And then aside from the acting, the story is just great. It's a spin on the classic slasher genre tropes, and it takes all these tropes, turns it on its head, becomes kind of a parody movie, but also a serious horror movie. This was obviously inspired by films like Halloween and Friday the 13th, and all the way to the fact that this actually inspired Halloween H2O, which was also a pretty solid movie. I've already reviewed that. I've already spoken my piece on that. But that's aside from my point. Just after all these years of these mainstream horror franchises, specifically Halloween and Friday the 13th, trying to outdo each other, this movie came out and made fun of every trope that those movies created, and went, hey, just have fun. And the Scream franchise really just taught horror fans to have fun every now and then. And I really enjoy that. And also the whole whodunit aspect as to who the killer is, very well played out throughout the movie. The killers might be obvious to some people who have never seen this movie before, but that's aside from my point. But I just really love the whole whodunit aspect and the constant guessing you're doing throughout the movie, and especially knowing who the killers are, so you're watching the movie trying to find clues that the movie leaves you. That's really fun to do as well. And finally, I just really like the score as well. Really great score. And also, I can't go without talking about that iconic opening scene with the phone call and the house chase with Drew Barrymore. Absolutely iconic opening, one of the greatest in horror history. And that's about all for the good. On to the bad, and there's nothing here. So on to the final thoughts. I love this movie. It started one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. It's an absolute classic. Scream is a masterpiece. No way around it. And I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. So those are my thoughts on Scream. Have you seen this movie? Let me know down in the comments what you thought about it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.